Hi, everybody. It is episode 530 of PodQuest.
Hey.
It is Wednesday, October 9th, 2024. I am Chris. With me is Droo
Hello.
and Walnut.
Yes.
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 And Droo barely has a voice.
Yep.
So I was waiting until we were actually recording. How was Furnace Fest?
It was really cool.
It sounds it.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't going to go until Boys Night Out got added, though I kind of wish I had gone the whole weekend because especially that Friday lineup was insane. And then
Yeah,
Coheed
there was
headlined
some
on
good-
Saturday.
There were some good bands playing all 3 days.
Yeah, for sure. But I had to go for Boys Night Out, and I lost my voice for the most part. It's definitely better today than it was yesterday, and than it was on Monday, but it's still not 100% for sure.
Yeah. So I saw a couple videos from their set, but like they're crowd videos, so it all like kind of sounds bad. Like how was it?
I'll say like the first two songs, like I could barely hear anything. Like the mix was just bad, but it kind of didn't care because the whole mess of us up in the front were just singing along the entire time anyway, so wasn't gonna really hear the band anyway. It definitely got better like as the set went on, which apparently seemed to be the case throughout the whole weekend, with like every band on every stage. Like the first band would be good, and then it would be a mess kind of going on until sound guys could fix them mid-set since they didn't have time to sound check every set.
I mean, I guess that does make a little bit of sense. Like they're trying to get bands up there, and they probably did line checks early on.
Yeah.
Like before everything started. Like I think Under Oath headlined Sunday, right?
Yes.
So like they probably got a sound check early in the day, but everybody else just got line checks.
Yeah. But overall, it was a real cool festival. It's a very cool venue. It's at a former pig iron furnace, like blast furnace, where they would take iron ore, melt it down to like raw iron, and then that would get sent off to go make steel or whatever.
That makes so much more sense why it's called Furnace Fest.
Yeah, exactly.
I did see a picture. I think somebody posted it on the Boys Night Out Discord. It looked like there was like a big like fountain lake thing like off to the side of the stage.
Yeah. So there's 3 stages. Boys Night Out played on the main stage, which had like the biggest field area in front of it,
as they should.
There was the pond stage, which is next to this little pond with all these metal pipes coming out of it that have fountains, which real cool. And at certain parts of the day, it was real nice to go stand by and have the wind just breeze a little mist onto you because it was like 90 degrees down there.
Oh,
yeah, it was
about
pretty
right.
hot. And then there was the shed, which is like I guess one of the old main buildings because they still had the big like 10-ton crane framework over up like in the ceiling. And that stage is where like the most hardcore bands are. Seemed like there was a lot of heavy moshing and people getting unintentionally injured there.
As you do.
One of the weirdest things about it to me anyway is there was no barricade to the stages.
Interesting.
Like I guess actually the pond stage had a little bit of a railing before the stage, but the main stage, like where I was standing directly in front of the stage, there was actually a little platform that
I did see that, yeah.
Yeah, like the band members could step down on, but also the crowd could just jump up on and use that to then stage dive into the crowd and crowd surf or whatever. So
there was no security like right in the front like there are at most venues.
No, like there would be some like right off the side of the stage just to make sure nobody was wound up being a dickhead.
Yeah.
But, fortunately, like most hardcore punk crowds, people aren't really going to be dickheads.
Yeah.
So I think I saw there was like one fight that happened the whole weekend apparently, which for that many people is isn't bad.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong.
But and then though there was a funny story on the way home. We're in the Birmingham airport, I'm waiting for my partner and her best friend to get their Starbucks as I was grabbing just a sandwich from the Burger King that was right next to it. And then I just see Ace Enders, the lead singer of the Early November, standing there. But he had picked up his coffee, and then turned out like the rest of two of these three other band members were waiting for their Starbucks orders. So I just walk over and I start talking to them. They're on the same flight as us.
Right, because they're from Jersey.
Yeah. So, I was talking to him for a little while, and the guitarist Mike and the drummer Jeff were also there with him, and we spent like 5-10 minutes talking while everyone was waiting for their Starbucks orders.
That's pretty cool.
And then both we had boarding ahead of them because Southwest is just wake up and check in, and you get on earlier, at least for now till they change it. But so we had our boarding was ahead of them, and both times Mike gave me a fist bump as he walked by.
Nice.
So, yeah, they were cool. They were fun.
Yeah, that's cool.
And the lead singer of the Juliana Theory was also on their flights.
I don't know who they are, actually.
You would probably know they have like one song that if you heard it, you would probably know it.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, that happens quite often, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's like the one song of theirs that I know. But
other than Boys Night Out, were there any other like standout like performances?
So the only ones that we like really took in the whole sets for were 68, which is I forget his name, but it was the original lead singer of Norma Jean and the Chariot.
Oh, okay.
It's his new band. It's a 2-piece. They're insane. It's really wild what effects pedals and shit can do for a band nowadays. Yeah. Like,
especially if you know how to use them.
Yeah, and boy, they do. Because like he at one point showed off like he could play one strum of his guitar and it would do 3 separate sounds. Like there was the first one, then a slight delay for a slightly lower tuned sound of the same note, and then another delay to an even lower tuned sound. And it's like, and then you could play a quick riff, and it's all just the way it all blended together was insane.
That's pretty cool.
Then there was the Showdown, that are a southern like hardcore band. They were pretty cool. I guess I saw most of 18 Visions because they played right before Boys Night Out, and I was like, all right, I'll go like work my way into the crowd for their set so I can be all the way up in the front for BNO. And then the last band we saw like the full set for was Reggie and the Full Effect.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, which that was fun.
Did you stick around for the Under Oath set at all?
No, by that point we were pretty exhausted because it was so hot. And we were they're seeing Under Oath in December. Oh, we did also watch Static Dress.
Okay, I liked them.
They
opened for them for Under Oath. Yeah,
they were pretty good.
Yeah, the singer's fucking full of energy.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I will say like Under Oath also did put on a really good show. Whether that translates to like an outdoor festival, because like they did have like some set stuff going on, and like changes to like their background as they were playing.
Okay,
but still, it sounds like you had a good time.
Yeah, for sure.
I guess that out of the way, Rich, what's on the agenda?
On the agenda, we all watched the movie Devil. Cobb, you watched a couple more horror movies, Beetlejuice, and Salem's Lot. I watched Vox Machina, Season 3, Episode 1, 2, and 3, and the first episode of Bleach for Season 3. Well, if that was in your Blood War Season 3. And then, Cobb, you read the first 2 volumes of Killadelphia.
Yes. All of these things apparently happened this week.
Yes.
So, what did you guys think of Devil? I keep wanting to call it The Devil, also.
I mean, understandable.
Yeah, I thought it was all right. I thought it was fine.
Yeah.
It's not my favorite Shyamalan movie, for sure. There are better Shyamalan movies out there.
There are.
But is it horror? Like to me, it didn't seem like it was very horror.
It's like a psychological thriller. Like I think. I think the thing is, like, horror is a much larger kind of stamp on a genre. And, like, when you hear horror, you immediately think, like, monster movies, like, ghost movies, like, jump scares. Mm-hmm. And that's just not the genre as a whole anymore.
Yeah.
Like, like, when you say horror, you have to then ask, like, well, what's the subgenre?
Yeah. And I'm going to just go right for it. I'm going to say this now. drunk guy is not at fault for that accident. The woman drove straight into the Bethlehem Pike, and there were no stop sign, and he didn't have any stop signs. Like, he T-boned her because she drove out into the middle of the street.
Did he not have a stop sign? Do we know that for sure?
No, this is the thing. The scene where they show the accident, all you see is the perspective of the car T-boning the other car. It's a black room.
Yeah.
You don't see anything else. So based on that perspective alone, she just comes out of nowhere. That's on her, man. It's on her. He was
way to victim blame.
Right? I just thought that scene was so, like, just that part of that scene. The car crash was so ridiculous. Like,
it was one of those, like, it was too telegraphed that was going to end up coming up again. Like, the fact that the cop did that whole story about why he doesn't believe in God, for that not to come back, that one of the people in the elevator was the person responsible.
Right.
And, like, it was set up where, like, other than the old woman, it could have been any of them. Like, every one of them was, like, shitty for different reasons.
Yeah.
We just never really saw why the old lady was shitty. And obviously, until the end.
We did see why she was shitty. Yeah. She was a thief.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. She stole. I forgot all about that.
The only one we didn't see why she was shitty, why they were shitty, was the Marine, right?
Yeah. Wait, which one was the Marine?
The guy who died last.
Oh,
no,
like
the guy who hit the guy who was in the accident that killed the officers.
Well, I mean that's why, right? Because
no one could find out who he was and why he was killing people. So it was supposed to make you believe, oh, he's the devil, because
they thought his name. They thought his name was
They didn't
thought
think
he was the old
there.
woman.
Yeah.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
But
Sorry, go ahead, Rich. Oh, no. I was gonna say I actually really liked it. But not like in a I want to watch it again or anything. And it, like you said, it's not top tier M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah.
But I think like it was only 81 minutes. Like it got in, did what it wanted to do, and got out. Like it didn't waste time. It didn't drag on. It didn't give us a bunch of unnecessary. Like I feel like if somebody else were to make this movie right now, it would have these like vignettes where you saw backstory for every person in the elevator.
Yeah. And
the only backstory that mattered was that last scene.
Like, it would have been a backstory of the security guard beating the shit out the dude. It would have been backstory of the con artist conning people. Would have been backstory of the girl, which I don't even remember what she did.
The guy was the pyramid scheme. She did something. Yeah. I forget what it was.
They just tried to make her seem like she was a liar. But I don't remember if they actually said that she had they did say that she had a criminal record.
She was there to talk to a lawyer, and the lawyer was like,
she was
specialized in this type of law.
She was a thief as well. She was actually stealing from her husband, and they were going to get a divorce.
Right.
Something like that.
Okay.
Like, she married a really rich guy, and like she had a lot of past issues with like theft in some way, shape, or form, or money or something. That's right.
But yeah, like I generally thought it was actually like it was interesting and it kept itself moving.
That's kind of what I like about M. Night Shyamalan movies. Are they as far as I can remember, they are all generally to the point. Like, I don't think an M. Night Shyamalan is often over 2 hours. So like an hour and a half to 2 hours for a movie like these that he makes, like, they don't overstay their welcome. They don't like embellish too much on this or that. Like, they are always like, although they are twisty, so they're not to the point, they're the opposite to the point, they are still to the point. Like, you don't get bored with it.
I mean, that's true. I feel like some of his more recent ones have definitely been a little bit longer.
Possibly.
But yeah, like The Sixth Sense was 100 minutes, Unbreakable was 100 minutes, Signs was 100 minutes.
Yeah.
Trap and Knock at the Cabin Door. Actually, no, you know what? Knock at the Cabin Door was 100. Trap is 100. Hey, maybe this guy does actually keep his shit, like...
Yeah, I don't... like...
Sub 2 hours is good.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a Shyamalan movie that I thought, man, this is going too long.
So Split and Glass are both a little bit longer. Glass is 129 minutes. Split is 118.
Okay. Still technically under 2 hours.
I mean, that is true.
For what was it, Glass?
After Earth. Oh, wow. After Earth, also only 100 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
The Last Airbender, only 103 minutes. The Happening, the one where the trees did it, only 90 minutes. And then what do we got? Lady in the Water and Village.
The Village is the only one that I can think.
The Village is 108 minutes.
Even at 108, that one is the only one that maybe does overstay its welcome just a little bit.
Yeah, that's the one where I liked the twist of that one more than I like the movie.
I love the premise. I enjoyed that movie. I know someone who doesn't like who feels like they falsely advertised the movie, but
I mean that's what movies with twists do.
Well, no,
they advertise.
His argument is that they built up this whole big thing about a monster in the woods, and then you don't even see the monster. Like there's the issue. His issue is there isn't even really a monster in the woods. And I'm like, well, that's kind of the point of the movie. Like, that's what you go see this movie for, is to find out
twist.
That, like, that's a Shyamalan movie. It's like, oh, it's not real, kind of shit. Like,
exactly.
But like, I like The Village, but it is definitely, it does overstay its welcome a little bit. But I feel like the forest sequence is just a bit long in The Village. Other than that, because, like, she's blind, so, like, obviously she's going to get lost, and she's going to get stuck, and she's going to get whatever, but, like, I don't know. It's just a little too long for just that forest sequence, but still, it stays within that hour and a half range.
Yeah.
Hour and a half, hour 45, that is just, like, this works. This works for this kind of movie.
Yeah. Drew, how did you feel about The Devil? I know you don't want to talk too much, just so you don't wreck your voice more.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was all right.
As far as those movies go?
Yeah.
It wasn't offensive?
No. And, kind of everything, what you said, it kind of gets to the point while, twisting what the point was. But, it doesn't overstay its welcome. It was decent.
Yeah, that is definitely the thing I think I appreciate the most is it kept itself moving. Like, we didn't get a whole bunch of unnecessary stuff. Like, every scene felt like it mattered at least a little bit. And the ones that probably mattered the least were the ones that just didn't last long. Like all those scenes where like somebody from the building would be like in the basement and you're like, oh, this feels like it's going to just like drag on with them creeping. It didn't. Like it was maybe like 2 minutes of them like walking up to the thing that made a noise and then leaving and like it cutting to like the next scene.
I want to know why the security guards did not mention the fact that one of the elevators just straight up fell. Like it wasn't that elevator fell. It wasn't just coming down to the bottom to the basement floor. It fell to the basement. It was
an express elevator. They go really quick.
But it fell to the basement though. That's the problem. It didn't stop at the first floor. It fell all the way to the basement while the maintenance guy was in the basement. It fell and he dropped right before it hit him and it almost killed him.
So the one thing we don't know is how far down those elevators are supposed to go. Because elevators have more to them than like just the car. Like there's stuff on top and below.
Yeah.
So it's entirely possible that what came down is actually the part of the elevator that would normally come down that far, since the shafts are just open like that.
There's no way there's no way an elevator is like 3 or 4 stories big on each floor, like on each side. Like an elevator, like the basement to an office building is not just 1 story down. It is a far way down.
Not always. I've been in basements of office buildings. Sometimes they are just like the next floor down.
But there's I don't know. It just seemed, I was like, the thing dropped and it slammed. Nothing. Like it.
Yeah, I mean, it was a weird scene to not be brought up again. I was just pointing out possible. It's also possible that it was brought like that the guy reported it, and because he reported it, there was no reason for them to investigate it. Because at that point, they were already starting to like shut down the building.
But like it dropped, and then you don't hear from him again until he's back on the roof and about to go down. Like, it looks like he died. So, like, and this is where, like, yes, I'm praising the movie because it's short and to the point. But, like, okay, maybe you could have leaned on him, like, coming to at least a little bit, or, like, realizing that he wasn't dead. Like, it
No,
seemed
because
like
then it would have been 87 minutes, and that's too long.
Yeah.
81 minutes is the cutoff.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a solid movie. Guys, the Comcast Tower's over 10 years old, man.
I did double check. It opened in 2008.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Which, there were still cranes on that tower. So when they filmed this movie, it wasn't actually finished. They were still finishing it.
Yeah, it was probably operational, but not...
well, they probably filmed the movie in 2008, 2009.
Yeah.
The movie came out in 2010, so they definitely filmed it while it was still being finished. But I swear that building finished like 2 years ago. Like, all right, not 2 years ago, but you know what I'm saying. Like, that building, it feels like it was just added like 5 years ago, not almost 15, or actually 15.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It's weird to like realize that building has been around that long.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the major thing I love about Shyamalan movies. They are all generally the Philadelphia area, and like it shows there's not a lot of movies that are actually in Philly, and like
the movie Philadelphia is in Philly.
Yes, I know, Cobb, but I'm just saying, like, Philly's a decent place. Like, why we need more movies in Philly? Screw New York. Let's get movies in Philly.
National Treasure happens a little bit in Philly.
They go to Liberty Bell, don't they?
Well, they run through Philadelphia. They take a crazier run through Philly than fucking Rocky does.
Rocky's run through Philly is over a marathon long.
So in the span of like 3 minutes, they run from like Reading Terminal Market to like Old City, to like Rittenhouse Square. Like they literally run through a bunch of stuff that is impossible to have gotten through in that amount of time.
Yeah,
it's fun though. I liked it. National Treasure, that is. And the Devil was good too.
So without Googling, if you haven't already, how far do you think Rocky runs?
Isn't it like 11 miles or something like that?
Bob, I already said it's more than a marathon.
I have no idea how long a marathon is.
26.2 miles.
Yeah, why would I know that? I'm never going to run a fucking marathon.
Because you know where the term marathon comes from, right?
No.
Marathon ran from the Battle of 300 all the way to Greece or whatever, and it's 26.2 miles. Like, the reason it's called a marathon is because marathon ran that much, and it's 26.2 miles.
Yeah, no, never knew that.
Yeah. So, you're off, Cobb. Drew?
Let's go with 32.
Close. 30.6.
I mean, look, man, boxers gotta run. Cardio is important.
Right.
That's why Rocky was able to go for the long haul. He didn't win by knockout. He won by just going 10 rounds.
And the crazy thing is the entire sequence is shot without asking permission.
You know what? I have heard that one before. They just kind of went out there and ran and filmed.
Yeah. So they did some guerrilla filming when it came to that.
It was the 70s. Who the fuck cared, right?
Exactly.
Right. Anything else about The Devil you guys want to talk about, though?
Nah. No. It's good. It's good.
Cool. So, what were you going to say, Rich?
I was going to say, it's like you said, Cobb. Like, I would never need to watch it again, but
it was good to watch once.
There we go.
Yeah. So our next book club, we're going to do Cabin in the Woods in 2 weeks?
3 weeks.
3 weeks, right. 3 weeks.
Because Drew won't be here in 2 weeks.
Right. He'll be in...
Chicago.
Chicago.
For some reason, I thought you had a different place this year.
No, Chicago's the different, actually fun place.
Yeah. Oh, right, because last year was like St. Louis or something, right?
No, it was Louisville, Kentucky.
There you go. It had a Louis in it.
Yeah, I mean, you weren't too far off. It's where the bank is headquarters. So.
Right. So, yeah. So, on our Halloween episode, we will be talking about Cabin in the Woods.
Yep.
Just making a note. Okay, so I watched 2 other movies. They're both relatively new, so I don't want to, like, spoil them. But I checked out, last night we watched Beetlejuice because it just hit streaming.
Mm-hmm.
They did a good job with that.
Nice.
That's good.
That was definitely one of those movies where, like, I was cautious going into it because, 30-year-old sequel doesn't necessarily work.
Mm-hmm.
But they they did a good job. I had read like a couple weeks ago that Michael Keaton had actually like talked to Tim Burton and been like, I can't be in this movie more than like 10 minutes. Like we have to keep it minimal, just like in the first one. Because I think Beetlejuice is only in like 13 minutes of the first movie. If you like string all of his scenes together. And that's what they did. Like they kept his parts like small. So like when he was in it, like he stole the show almost every time, as he's going to do. And I feel like Michael Keaton just dropped right back into that role really well. And this one, they actually expanded on like the afterlife a lot more. So there was more of them actually in like I don't even know what they call it. I think they do just call it the afterlife. Like the waiting rooms and all that, and seeing like people doing those like weird menial jobs that maybe they did in real life, maybe they didn't. Like their chief of police or head detective or whatever is Willem Dafoe, who while he was alive was he played a cop in a series of B movies. That's what he was known for. And so when he died, he somehow became like the head detective of the other world. And it's Willem Dafoe, so that fucking worked. Mm-hmm. There were a couple other fun cameos. Both the Winona Ryder and Catherine O'Hare both reprised their roles. Other than Michael Keaton, I think those were the only two like prominent returning people. And yeah, like it had a couple down spots. I think Jenna Ortega was like a good addition, like having her play Lydia's daughter. But I think kind of the relationship between them, it was like strained just to have the strained relationship. Versus like them really taking the time to explain why it was a strained relationship. So that
from what I've seen, it seems like their relationship is a strained relationship just because she's a teenager and that's it.
Yeah, it's a little bit more than that, but none of it felt necessary. Like it felt like one of those things where it could have all been easily remedied. Like more so than you get in most movie misunderstandings. Mm-hmm. I think other than Michael Keaton, the one who stole the show the most was Catherine O'Hare. Like her as I can't ever remember that character's name from the movies, but like the stepmother. She was just always fantastic. Mm-hmm. So like every scene she's in was great, and that for whatever reason the school that Lydia's daughter goes to has that one sculpture of hers from the original movie, the one that's like a weird rib cage that traps somebody against a wall in the first movie. Yeah. That is just at this like prep school.
I don't think I've ever actually watched all of the original Beetlejuice all the way through.
Huh. I wonder how you would feel about it now, because it could be one of those movies that if you didn't watch it when you were younger, it just doesn't work.
I've watched enough of it, but yeah, I've never actually. I've seen the ending for sure. I don't think I've ever sat down to watch it, but I think I might actually enjoy it because it's. I want more practical effects in movies, and that movie is pretty much all practical effects.
Yeah, and then actually, even this new one, like they did a lot with makeup and prosthetics that they could have easily just done with green screen and special effects. The one thing that they definitely did special effects for were the sandworms. Yeah. In the first one, they were like claymation. And honestly, like I thought the claymation was cool. And they tried to make it look like claymation, but you can tell it's just CG.
Yeah. That claymation CG is kind of hard to do.
Yeah. I mean, doing claymation is very hard and very time consuming.
Yeah.
But yeah, like there is one character that dies by shark bite. And so every time you see him in the other world, he's just like a torso with a shark bite out of like the top half. Mm-hmm. So like you don't see like a head or anything. There's just like one eyeball on like the left hip, basically. And yeah, all sorts of other like fun like aesthetics on people. The one character they introduced that was in all the previews is Monica Bellucci's like evil dead lady. And her initial scene where like she puts herself together with like the stapler and all was really cool because then like she walks around the rest of the movie like stapled together. Mm. But yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. Had a couple misses and a couple things that were a little too obvious. But overall, like it's definitely worth checking out. I see why it actually did pretty well in the box office too.
Yeah.
It wasn't just that there wasn't really anything else to see. It's like it's actually they did a good job with this movie.
Yeah.
They could have easily fucked it up, and they didn't.
I looked it up. To be exact, Keaton had 17.5 minutes in the first
You know what?
movie.
I almost said 18 minutes, and I'm just like, no, that seems too long.
He only spent 2 weeks filming.
Nice.
But it's his, and quote, and this is from IMDb, it's easily one of my favorite movies to come out of the 80s, and Keaton has stated that it's his favorite movie of all the ones he's made. He's filmed it for 2 weeks and probably made bank on that thing. That's why. But,
and I mean, like, the movie is named after his character. Like,
yeah.
He, like, for how little the character is in, frankly, both movies, he, like, name aside, like, that is the character you think of when you think of those movies. Like, until you actually sit down and actually, like, pay attention, you don't realize how little he is in it because they sprinkle him throughout it. It's not like the fucking Exorcist, where the Exorcist shows up in the last 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Beetlejuice is kind of there from early on, just as, like, these little, like, tidbits. Like, he pops up and, like, makes some jokes, and then he's gone for a while. And they did a similar thing in this one. And yeah, it works. Like, good job, guys.
Yeah.
And then the other one I watched was the new Salem's Lot that they just released on Max this past week. That one, not as good. Not bad, but it was just, I feel like it rushed through things. Do either of you guys know which one Salem's Lot is as far as, like, Stephen King stuff goes?
No.
No, I know the name, but not really.
So it's like his second or third published novel. It's about vampires, and it's about a town that is slowly taken over by vampires.
Okay.
And from what I understand, like, in the book, and they've actually done 2 different, like, mini series of these. One in the late 70s and one in, like, the mid 2000s. That were both like 2 or 3 episodes each, so they had a little more time to kind of, like, drag things out, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
In this, it was just very quick. Like, you have, like, your opening, let's say 20 minutes, where, like, everything's kind of fine, but you know something's going on. And then as soon as the first person becomes a vampire, suddenly half the town's a vampire. Then the whole town's a vampire. Like, there was just, like, this very exponential growth that just made it feel too rushed and never really gave the characters a chance to, like, develop.
Mm-hmm.
I think, like, had they done a 2-parter, like a little mini series for it, I think it probably actually would have been a lot better because, like, the cast was good and they actually did it. They did it set in the time. So the book is from 75 and the movie was set in 75. So there weren't cell phones or computers or any of that stuff for people to, like, research on. Like, there's one kid in it who's just super into, like, horror stuff, and at one point he just pulls out a comic book and starts making a list of all the things that, like, vampires are known to be, like, weak to, just based off his fucking comic book. And I know, like, the 2004 version of it was actually, like, updated, like, it happened in 2004. So cell phones were a thing then, like, the internet was a thing then. Kind of gives it a different feel of a movie. Mm-hmm. Also, Rob Lowe was in that one.
I love Rob Lowe.
Yeah, it's just weird.
I literally started watching 911 Lone Star just because Rob Lowe's in it.
That is why we watched the show The Grinder from a few years ago. It was, like, the first thing he did after Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
Wasn't a good show, but, like, he's funny. So, like, It helped. It was, like, him and, like, the Savage brother from the Wonder Years. Fred Savage?
Yes.
Fred Savage was an actual lawyer, and Rob Lowe was an actor who played a lawyer and wanted to now be a lawyer in real life.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Salem's Lot was fine. If you have Max and you're looking for just something to watch, it's not awful. But there are also plenty of better movies on Max that you could watch instead, even if you are looking for, like, horror movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not bad.
How is Vox Machina? Is it season 3 already, really?
Season 3.
I don't think we ever watched season 2.
I'll talk about Vox Machina in a second. I want to talk about Bleach first because there's only one episode.
No, I put Vox Machina first.
Oh, well, look, I have less to say about Bleach. So,
fine. Jeez.
Here's the thing. I'm getting tired of anime. Like, every fucking... And I guess it's just very shonen-y anime.
I was gonna say, stop watching Shonen, man. There's lots of other stuff out there.
Seriously. Bleach, first episode back, it's been a year and a half since the last season ended or some shit like that.
No, it's only been a year.
No, it's probably only been a year. It feels longer. But it's only been a year. But like this first episode of the season, half of this episode was just the last episode of last season.
It's anime, man. Recaps galore.
But like
keep that budget down. They just show you the same shit you've already seen.
But it's not even like a My Hero recap episode that they tried to make fun. They just here's what happened at the end of last season. Like here's literally scene for scene what happened at the end of last season. One of Squad Zero, the rest of Squad Zero killed themselves so that the Weaver could use her Bankai, and then Ichibei used his Bankai against Yuwak, who then like all of that up to, because I remember last season ended with Ichibei using his clap attack, and that's how it ends. Like it basically ends in the middle of the fucking fight. And like they just reshow that. I'm just like, come on, like I don't need this. I don't need this. Give me more. Like this is where I'm at with anime. Like I need more. I need more to happen in an episode.
Got to start watching like non-common shonen stuff.
Yeah, seriously. But I mean, I'm excited to have Bleach back. But like, hopefully more happens this week.
Honestly,
won't.
While I think the 1,000-Year Blood War like overall story was cool, it seems like the anime is suffering the same way the manga did. Like the pacing is just garbage. Like we actually never ended up finishing the second part because like the pacing was just so bad for it.
I would just like I would just wait until it's all done. Like but at the same time, I don't want to tell people to do that because there are other Bleach things. There's like Bleach, like actual like not graphic novels, but like there are novels of Bleach that take place after 1,000-Year Blood War. That like
not really. There's just the one shot.
Yeah, it's like a one shot or something, but like it could be a cool thing for them to animate or to put together. And so like, you know, maybe if this keeps getting good numbers, they'll like make that a movie or something at least. But no, at this point I'm just like I'm kind of like I'm waiting for Agatha to be all out. I kind of just want to wait for Bleach to be all out, but I'm not gonna. I've been feeling the same way with My Hero for this season. Like I kind of just want to wait for the rest of the season to be over for me to watch it. I don't know how much
we're doing at this point.
Yeah, there's probably only like 1 or 2 episodes left.
I mean, we only watched the first like 4 or 5.
Yeah. And it feels that a lot of TV in general, the pacing's bad and it's like TV shows. It's not like made for streaming shows. It's TV shows that this is an issue because everyone is writing for streaming services now. Everyone's writing for bingeability. But when you're releasing something weekly, but you're writing for it to be bingeable, like that's bad. But then also on top of that, Bleach, for instance, I want to binge 1,000-Year Blood War, but they recap 5 minutes of every episode is the recap from the episode before.
Yeah, so that is a problem with anime.
Yeah,
like without a doubt, and it's one of those. I get it when it comes to like 15 years ago, when it was just on TV, like in Japan too. Like Japan doesn't do stuff the same way like they do in America. Like as far as I know, at least, like these shows aren't just aired all year long. Like unless it's like a One Piece that's just on all the time. But like you're not getting a lot of repeats. Like it's not like the season ends and they show the whole season again. Like something else fills that time slot.
Yeah.
So, like, I understand you need, like, a recap episode when there's, like, a new season after a year or whatever. But also, a lot of this stuff is going straight to streaming, even in Japan. Like, it's airing on TV, but it's also available on, like, Netflix or something there.
Mm-hmm.
So, having that stuff be, like, a full episode, it ruins people wanting to watch it, because when they tune in and the first episode is just a recap, and then the 6th episode is also a fucking recap, it's like, but why?
With like My Hero back a while ago when I first started watching it, when the next episode would come out, I would watch the episode before and that episode because it'd be like, all right, I want to watch the episode before, I want to watch it in full, and just I don't know, I had more time in my hands and I didn't really care. But now I'm like, I want more content. I want new stuff. I want you. The biggest culprit or the biggest offense that Bleach Thousand Year Blood War did was Rukia unleashing her Bankai
in the fucking credits
while the credits were rolling.
Yep.
Fuck you. Like, give her time.
Yeah, that part sucked for sure.
But like that's how the book happened. Like the comic, the manga that she released her Bankai ended with her being talked down from her brother about how to undo it. So like that's how they ended the episode. But still, like you could have paced it better and then had the credits run after. Don't run it during the credits. Like give her time. It's just it's getting very shonen. But it's Bleach, so I'm gonna love it, and like I'm excited to see what they do with this season. I think this is the last season.
There's one more part. It's 4 parts. This is the third part.
4 parts? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Which hopefully they don't like fuck up the pacing. Hopefully they like maybe give us some better fights. Maybe give us full fights in one episode.
I mean, we can hope.
Yeah, like because that's been my issue with My Hero is like the best fight in My Hero is in season 1, and it's All Might versus Nomu, Black Nomu. That's it. Like ever since then, every fight takes place over the course of like 2 or 3 episodes.
I mean, that's anime and manga. The manga chapters do the same thing.
Yeah, it's them talking throughout it. Like, which the talking is fine, but like I want to see the whole fight. Like I had this complaint with the beginning of this season of My Hero when Stars and Stripes fought what's his name? And like the episode cut midway through the fight. It's like, no, just cut out some of the recap and give me the whole fucking fight here. Or give me until she thinks she won. Like, it's just, you can pace this better. It's not like you're running against the clock. The series is over. The anime is over. Like, you don't have to worry about catching up because the anime is over. You're gonna catch up. So, like, fill in these episodes with full fights in them. Like this week coming up, and I'm gonna just say it because you've read it, is you finally get to see All Might and All for One fight one more time.
Oh, with the suit?
Yeah, but they not promote it, but they teased it 2 weeks ago.
That sounds about right.
Literally teased it 2 weeks ago, and then like they did a thing, and it's like 5 minutes earlier because it's fucking Dragon Ball now. They pop us back and they show some stuff to do some things elsewhere so that they could resolve other characters' combats. And I'm like, come on. But yeah, so Bleach, please do better with your pacing this season. Vox Machina, though, I'm so happy that series is back. I forgot that it was coming back until the past 2 weeks they were talking about it on Critical Role. And I'm just like, oh, right. I'm so happy. Because this Chroma Conclave is such a fantastic storyline in anything that I've ever watched. Like, the entire first campaign of Critical Role, I'm not going to say it's the best campaign, but it is a great storyline of things that happen. I think all 3 campaigns are fantastic in their own right, because they're 3 separate kinds of different characters, 3 separate kinds of stories. And I'm excited to see the Mighty Nine be an animated series. I'm excited to see Bell's Hell be an animated series, even though they haven't announced that yet. You know that's going to fucking happen.
I was about to ask, wait, they announced that one too?
No, but that's going to happen because Mighty Nine's happening. So the only reason they announced Mighty Nine is because Mighty Nine finished. So they could announce, like, oh, we're doing this. Once Bell's Hells finishes, which honestly is probably by the end, no, maybe not by the end of the year, but maybe that's close. Because that actually only gives them, let's see, we're, 1, 2, 5, it only gives them 8 more episodes, so no, maybe by the end of the year, but probably not by the end of the year. Because they'll take an extended break for Thanksgiving, they'll take an extended break for Christmas, so no. But like, by mid next year, if not earlier, this campaign's going to be over. And there's a lot of fan theories that, the reason they're trying to wrap it up or the reason that they're wrapping it up the way they are is because Mercer wants to just move them from playing D&D to playing their game set that they made. Probably because Wizards of the Coast is being ridiculous about people using their system. But yeah, so Vox Machina, Legends of Vox Machina, season 3. They launched 3 episodes at a time, probably 12 episodes, like each. I think the other 2s were 12 each. It's great. It starts off quick. It catches you up. Like it doesn't give you 5 minutes of recap. I don't think it even really gives a recap. Like it like brings you into it right away, shows you some things, does a little bit of like a time jump backwards to like show you what happened.
The opposite of the anime.
Yeah. It actually puts you forward and then rewinds it halfway into or a few minutes into the episode to let you know how they got to that point. And they do a in memoriam to Lance Reddick, which was fantastic because he voices the main dragon. I can't remember.
I didn't realize that.
Right, I can't remember his name right now, but they do an in memoriam to Lance Reddick, which is amazing. They have not yet done a scene I'm hoping for. I don't know if they're going to because they already had those 2 characters hook up. But there is a scene that happens after they're done in Draconia in the series, which is where they're at in the game, which is where they're at in the series. They're at Draconia now. There's a scene that happens with a bathtub, and it's fantastic. And I don't know if they're gonna do that, but I really hope they do. And it's great. I'm having a good time watching it. It
nice.
Really does bring me back to like. It is a good way to introduce yourself to Critical Role if you don't want to watch Critical Role, because I get it. It's 4 hours long, like 4 hours long once a week, minimum 100 episodes each campaign. Like
it's a lot.
It's a lot to watch. I get it. I understand. Like this is a really good way, even though they changed some things because there's a character that was in the start of Vox Machina, the game that isn't in the series because they had a falling out with the actor.
Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about.
So like. That character is not in the series, so they even had to actually change things up a little bit for them to go to Draconia. They didn't initially have. They really they went to Draconia because they heard it got attacked and their friend was there. Because like Mercer's great. If he writes somebody out, he's not killing them. He's like, all right, you just leave. Like you do this thing and you go. Like you have a character reason to leave. And so in the game. They hear that a dragon attacked Draconia, and they go and they find that dragon dead in Draconia. In the series, it's like they don't have a reason to go there. So it's like, oh, well, you're trying to find this item, and the only way to get to the Hells is through Draconia. So it's like, all right, well, that's cool. Like, they at least brought it around and connected that.
Yeah, that is actually pretty cool.
Yeah, so it's just it's really cool that they were able to like still connect it and have some key scenes. We'll see how it goes from here. It's nice to watch this in an animated form. Of course, they can't follow all D&D rules in a cartoon, so they make up their own powers and stuff. But that's absolutely fine. I like that. That's cool.
Yeah, we watched the first season of it. I kind of just forgot about it, but like they did a really good job with that.
Yeah, season 1 is fantastic. That storyline is amazing, and it plays out so well in the game. I'm so excited to see how these things get played out in the series. I can't wait to see how things change as the series goes on. Nice. It's actually been wanting me to like kind of go back and rewatch campaign 1 and 2. But I'm like, I tried to do that once with Campaign 1, and I got like halfway into the Chroma Conclave and just stopped for some reason. I don't know why. But because of like wanting to rewatch Critical Role, I was like, let's do something else. And so I've been watching a lot of Dimension 20 on Dropout. They have the Misfits and Magic series, which they just brought back for season 2. And so I watched all of season 1 and then season 2. What's been released of season 2, and that's good. And then they had Mercer guest star as a DM in a series called The Ravening War, which I've been watching through. I'm like, that's also fun because it's not just serious D&D. It's comedians playing D&D. It's improv comedians playing D&D. So it's even better.
Yeah, that's always fun when people are like actually like fun with it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah,
Nice.
that's really all I got around to this weekend. Those are the nerdy things. I could talk to you about 911 Lone Star if you wanted me to, but
No,
it's not a good show.
I think we're okay without that.
It's not a good show. I wanted a replace since the rookie hasn't come back yet because the new season isn't. Yeah, I think it's now a mid-season series, or also just because of the writer's strike and actor strike, they couldn't get to filming for a certain amount of time, so it's just they're starting later. So since I'm still waiting for that to come back, I was like, I need a new disaster porn drama. And this is just a straight up drama with some disaster in it. And I'm like, this sucks. This isn't good. This isn't what I wanted at all.
Yeah, I have not heard many good things about that one.
No. I'll probably end up watching 911 after I'm done Lone Star, just to see if that's any better. I don't think it will be.
Probably not. Anything else though about Vox Machina?
No, that's it. Watch it. If you haven't watched it yet, watch it.
Real quick, funny enough, our waiter at the hotel restaurant in Birmingham, I don't know what of whoever's tattoos or whatever thought to have him ask if we liked animated stuff, but he did. I mean, it was like the very end of the night, so we were the only people in there. Not like he was busy, but he mentioned Vox Machina of all things. Yeah, how random.
That is actually kind of funny. Nice. Well, the last thing we have then for right now is I started reading the comic series Killadelphia.
I didn't know this was a thing.
I don't even know what it is.
So it's a comic book set in Philadelphia. It follows a guy who his dad was like a Philadelphia detective. He was like just a beat cop in Baltimore before his dad died, and he came back up to Philadelphia for like the funeral and gets wrapped up in this whole big thing where fucking vampires are kind of taking over Philadelphia, led by the second president of the United States, John Adams.
Okay.
Yeah, so this whole series is like set up with the concept that sometime in the early 1800s, John Adams, after his presidency, went to like the Caribbean, got attacked by a vampire and turned into a vampire, and came back to the U.S. and has sort of been like secretly like pulling strings and stuff like that for different things for the last 200 years. Mm-hmm. And it's him and his wife. They're both vampires, and they're basically looking to overthrow the country and instate like a new government that is more for the people than what the government ended up being. Only his wife wants something different than that and just hasn't told him. But it's really, so far it's been cool because there's this modern day side of it where it's this detective. He finds out that his dad actually isn't dead either. His dad was turned into a vampire, and they're trying to like shut this shit down. And then every so often you get like these flashbacks to the 17 and 1800s with like John Adams' story. And I found out something like that I just thought was interesting. I didn't realize John Adams and Thomas Jefferson both died on the same day, which was the 4th of July in like 1826. Like it was the anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of the Independence. And I found that fascinating.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been really cool so far. The artwork is, it almost looks like watercolor, or not watercolor, but like painting, I guess would be a better way to put it, versus your traditional like pencil and then inks and then somebody coloring it. So everything looks like when there's violence and chaos, everything looks more like chaotic, which is cool. And a lot of the vampires that are kind of named and shown have like longer histories. They're not just people that like Adams has been turning over the last like couple of years. Some of these people have like kind of tragic stories from like the 1800s. One guy was like, he was a slave. He was freed after the Civil War, traveled out to like North Dakota, set up like in North Dakota doing something, had like his family with him. And as it happens back then, a bunch of shitty white guys showed up, murdered his family. So John Adams showed up, offered to make him a vampire. He took it, killed those guys, and then joined Adams on his fucking crazy crusade through the centuries. So yeah, it's definitely a weird book, but I'm enjoying it so far. It's from Image too, so they get to be a little more like graphic and violent and stuff with things, and they don't have to adhere to like the monthly schedule. They're up to like 6 volumes now, so it's like 35, 36 issues. But it looks, when I was looking into it, it looks like they might take little breaks every like arc or so, which is similar to like what a book like Saga or Something is Killing the Children does, where they'll run like a 6 to 10 issue arc and then take like a couple months off, kind of plot the next arc, get a head start on it so there are no delays, and then start releasing them. And I appreciate that, because when you have those, oh, this book just randomly releases like every like couple of months, it sucks because you never know when you're going to get something. When there's just like a set, like we're going to take 3 months off every 6 months, you just know, like 3 months off, 6 months on. Like, It works.
I've been looking into the writer, Rodney Barnes.
Yeah.
Because I looked up Killadelphia and it brought me to his website.
Nice.
And the last line on the website for Killadelphia is, a TV pilot for Killadelphia is currently in development in 15 films.
I did hear about that before I started reading it.
Yeah.
It's a book that has kind of like been on my radar for a while, and I just had never started it. But I decided like I didn't want to read like the superhero stuff I had, so I picked these up, and I've been really enjoying them. Like it's a cool concept. It's not your normal vampire stuff, even though the vampires kind of adhere to your normal like can't go in the sun, like shit like that.
Yeah. He's written some cool stuff. Like I'm going through like TV stuff basically, like on his IMDb. He's a writer on Winning Time: The Rise of the Lakers Dynasty.
Huh.
A little throwaway for Droo, even though I know you don't like basketball. He wrote Wu-Tang: An American Saga.
Nice.
Then there's he wrote The Runaways, which I believe is that Marvel series. He wrote American Gods, or was a writer, not wrote, but is a writer on.
Oh, for the TV show.
Yes, so writer for the American Gods TV show, Runaways TV show.
Nice.
The Boondocks, Everybody Hates Chris, My Wife and Kids.
Oh yeah, so this dude has been around for a while.
He's got some great credits. Like I to be honest, I'm interested in reading or seeing some of the things he's done. Like he's got some great credits of things that I like.
Yeah, like I said, I'm only 2 volumes in out of 6 so far, but I've really been enjoying it. Like I think it's really well done. The artwork's good, and it's cool because like the first volume ended, and it was just like this could be the end. Like that main story was wrapped up. There were loose ends, but you could easily not need to dive into them. Which for like for an image based, like an image comic book, I appreciate that. Like you got your volume. If this book didn't sell well, you're not just leaving people kind of hanging by having like an unfinished or like a rushed ending. But the book did well, so he's able to like keep going with it.
Yeah.
Because like there have been quite a few of those like image books that, you know, they pick it up for like 6 issues and it just doesn't do well. So like what they were hoping would be like a much longer series, they suddenly have to like wrap up by that 6th issue, and that's never fun to see like that happen.
So does he? It's Image. He doesn't publish it himself.
I mean, when I saw it, it had the Image tag on it.
Okay, because he runs Zombie Love Studios, which has 3 comics: Florence and Normandy, Crownsville, and Blackula: Return of the King. Yeah,
so it does look like I just double checked it. They're on Image's site. So the way Image works though is it's all creator owned. So you have to come to them with basically the finished book. Like you need your artist, you need your writer, you need your letterer, like you need all of that stuff, and they basically just help you print and publish it. You retain all the rights. So like if there's a TV show going on, like that's his deal to make, not Image's deal to make.
Yeah.
But I did see like later on in this book, like I guess they have like appearances from like Spawn, which is cool because Spawn definitely fits in this weird world that he's building, without it needing to be like a major ongoing thing. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm looking forward to seeing more of it.
Nice.
Yeah,
I like that. I like this guy's stuff, so...
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for like a book that's like, it's not too much of an investment, it's worth checking out. Because I know that's often been your thing. Like, a lot of the comics that you think sound more interesting, like, the investment's just a lot for it. Like,
yeah,
the amount that you have to catch up on just to, like, be current is just, it's a lot.
Yeah.
But I think that might be it for this week.
I think so, too. It's a short week.
Yeah, I'm going to be flying out tomorrow, so I'm going to get this edited quick tonight.
I didn't realize that you were flying out tomorrow and coming back Sunday.
Yeah.
I thought that's a quick trip out to Cali. That's crazy.
We're basically just going for Knott's Berry on Friday. But, like, it worked out that by just staying, like, an extra day, we get to go see Erica's family that lives out there that, like, we obviously don't see all that often.
Yeah.
So,
cool.
Like, yeah, it works out nicely. Like, where they're at isn't far from there. So, and we also, the last time when we went to Knott's Berry 2 years ago, we were fucking exhausted by the time, like, we got there. Because that was when we went from Seattle down to LA. So this time we're going to be, and especially, like, it's like 7:30 to, like, 2 a.m. is what it runs. So we're getting in Thursday afternoon. We'll kind of, like, just have, like, a chill Thursday. Friday, we'll kind of have the day to just kind of, like, do whatever, relax, like, not be out and about too much, and then have that whole night to kind of like enjoy Knott's Berry. And then Saturday afternoon we're gonna like meet up with her family and get dinner and such. So it'll be cool. And then Sunday morning we fly home, and yeah, then I have work on Monday morning.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I would have taken off Monday. You've got more cojones than I do. I would have taken off.
Not only do I work on Monday, I work in Bethlehem on Monday. So I have to be up at 5 o'clock and driving for 3 hours each way.
Watch out for that Bethlehem Pike.
Yeah, it's fucking right. You never know. It's usually dark when I get up there, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, with all that said, if you would like to find some more of our content, you can head over to www.one-quest.com. You can also help us out by supporting us at patreon.com/onequest. If you can't support us there with $8, though, you can go to your favorite podcast platform, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or YouTube. I still say Google. YouTube, Spotify, all those things. Rate us, review us, subscribe to us. All of it helps. You can also find us on social media, facebook.com/onequestonline or at @1_quest on Instagram and Twitter. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/onequestvideo, and you can always send us an email to social@one-quest.com. And Rich, what is your streaming looking like?
Twitch.tv/B_Walnuts. We're on video game streaming Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. Now listen here, I know I kind of took a week off, guys. I'm exhausted. Should get back into it at the latest Monday next week. Otherwise, should probably be back to playing some Alien Isolation on Sunday if I end up not going out. But Sunday's a super busy day, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, Alien Isolation, I'm hoping to try to get through that as fast as possible so I can play something else alien and horror based by the end of this month as well. Other than that, yeah, that's really all I got.
Nice. Cool. Well, with that, we will be back next week with something else to talk about. Thanks for listening. Bye.
See you.
Bye.